Now, raise your hand if you are excited and giddy as me that Manchester United season 22-23 has been amazing under Eric Ten Hag. Nothing that we did expect, because we've been far depressed watching the sheer shit football that Manchester United has produced for the past 6 years at least, not even winning one single trophy until Papa Eric came into the helms and we actually won that Energy Cup trophy, which is absolutely amazing achievement. But there's one thing clear and obvious that we all see, including Eric Ten Hag and pundits and media, is that we need that killer to finish off that chicken dinner. You know what I mean? Not really chicken dinner, but we need a killer to finish off the dinner. Barring that, Marcus Rashford is our leading goal scorer. Fair play, Marcus Rashford. It's been amazing. 28 goals in all competition for Marcus Rashford. But what happens if Marcus Rashford is injured? Like the other day when he limped off against Everton with a groin injury. Who are we going to fall back to? Of course, we got Wood Weghorst. Wood Weghorst has scored 1 goal in all competitions. That hasn't really worked out. When Scott McTominay is actually a more leading striker than Wood Weghorst, then you have a problem. Then we have Anthony Martial, which has been frustrating because he hasn't hardly seen the daylight of this season. And we know that Eric Ten Hag really likes Anthony Martial, and so do I, because Martial offers something really different. Other than that, we don't have anything. So isn't it clear and obvious that we will need huge spendings in the summer to go after that killer with a killer instinct to finish off all these chances? Just look at the Everton game. We had a Prem record in the first half, 21 shots on targets. How many did we convert? 2. But if we had that killer in the box, the killer instinct, we could have at least finished off with a 6-0. 6-0, people, let that sink in. So what's coming out in the transfer market media today? It's British spin as usual, that Harry Kane saga, who has 1 year on his left on his contract. He's 30 years of age, and Daniel Levy is saying in the press, wide open, I will not let Harry Kane go for less than 100 million if he doesn't sign a new contract. That is sheer extortion and robbery, right? Because he knows that a lot of clubs are looking for a striker. A lot of clubs that are having, like Manchester United, that will have a lot of doughs, will go after and inquire about Harry. Is it worth it? You got 1 year left on your contract. You're 30 years of age, and you are not a world-class striker because you haven't won anything. I can debate about this, but I almost called you Harry McCain, which is Harry Maguire. I'm afraid there will be another Maguire saga, and I don't want that on the club, right? I am looking for more or long-term longevity, and I'm talking about, if you're going to pay 100 million, you might as well go all the way to Turin, put 100 million on the table to Napoli and say, Victor Osimhen, welcome to Manchester United. You're 24 years of age, you bagged 28 goals in all competition, you're simple, amazing, and you fit into Eric Ten Hags system. He's a modern striker, he's a game changer, can grab the game by the scruff of the neck and finish off your dinner. Comparing to Harry Kane, frustrating as it is, he can drift off, he does a few good caps in England, but is he the answer that Manchester United are looking for? According to my opinion, not. But having to say that, it is up to you to decide as a viewer. Drop a comment in this links below, hit the like, share button, and let's bring in the panel. Let us have a debate. Harry Kane or Victor Osimhen?
Has the Premier League ever been more challenging?
I feel welcome. Dit is my home and I want to achieve success. Okay?
And we got to look at the summer transfer targets. So let's do this. Let's look at the striker position. This is something, a very hot topic, what we really need, because we've been debating, is Weghorst good enough? Is Eloni? But who is Eric Ten Hag going for in the summer? Let's unpack this. Heavily brewing today in some media and stuff. It's Harry Kane. It's came out to say that I don't know where the information is coming from. I have certain different information that Ten Hag is going all in for Harry Kane in this summer, XYZ. I even have spoken to some transfer journalists. We're going to play a clip regarding that as well. That we did a interview a few weeks back ago. I mean, clearly, like, you know, he signed the contract with the Devil a few years ago with Levy, and barring that he's sacked the manager Conte right now. I mean, the valuation according to Transfermarkt is about 90 millions. He's got, like, you know, 1 year left on his contract. British tax, turning 30. This, according to me, is he's a good signing. He's a good signing, but for me, I can debate. He's not a world class striker. He's good within the Premier League. He does all right on the Southgate, but I don't think if this is the future that we need. Barring if we're looking at, if comparing an Osimhen to Kane in terms of long term sustainability, guys. Let me know your thoughts and feelings regarding this. People in the chat also drop your comments regarding Kane or Osimhen.
Yeah, we've
Anil.
got just before we move on to back to the panel. Sorry, we've got quite a few comments building up in the chat, so it'd just be right just
Please.
to mention a few of those. So obviously, Matt just says earlier on, welcome lads, Anil, Kandola, and then we've got somebody saying it depends if we get Champions League or not, whether it'll be Ivan Toney. I think Ivan Toney's a fantastic player, and whether we get Champions League or not, I'd love to.
But we haven't.
Club.
Just to clarify, the players that I have here is that we're the players that we've been linked on, solid linked and rumors from agents and the club. I haven't heard anything from Ivan Toney unless you have, Anil.
No, I think just very quickly on Ivan Toney, he's almost in between Osimhen and Ferguson in terms of them signings and what they do for Man United. He would be a brilliant signing. I think he has got certainly a bit of credit in the bank, really, in terms of deserving a move. No disrespect to Brentford, but I think he does certainly deserve a big move. And obviously, he has got his difficulties off the pitch with the betting stuff. So I think it will be certainly something that he has to sort out in terms of his own personal life before we can discuss him. But yeah, I think, you know, Ivan Toney is a solid player, but realistically, if we're talking about the likes of Harry Kane and Victor Osimhen, he isn't at that level. If we're being perfectly honest.
Yeah, big up. Okay. Kane, any thoughts on Kane? Do you think he's worth the 90 million? We know that Daniel Levy is a tough customer. He will not sell him to a rival club. I don't think so.
So yeah, I just want to sorry to cut across you, mate, but I think I want to go on a little bit of a rant about Harry Kane, to be honest.
Go for it.
So I think that obviously the situation for Manchester United and the striker saga, if you like, who are Man United going to sign? The two big names that we've been hearing are Harry Kane and Victor Osimhen. And now if you're someone who thinks Harry Kane should sign because of his playing ability or he would suit Eric Ten Hag more than Victor Osimhen, I don't agree with that. But if that's what you think and that's your agenda, then that's perfectly fine. But one thing I really will not stand for is this: we should sign Harry Kane over Victor Osimhen because of his Premier League experience. That is absolute nonsense. Exactly. Just ask Erling Haaland, just ask Sergio Aguero, just ask Casemiro, and just ask Martinez on all of their Premier League experience before they came to the league. How did they all do and how are they all getting on? I wonder how. And if you want to stay on the same note, why don't we look at Fernando Torres from Liverpool to Chelsea, Alexis Sanchez from Arsenal to Manchester United, and Romelu Lukaku, who's been at Manchester United and Chelsea, all Premier League experience. Don't remember them doing very well at any of the clubs that they joined. So I think this situation between Harry Kane and Victor Osimhen, if you feel like Harry Kane would bring more than Victor Osimhen, then that's fine if you're talking about his playing ability. But one thing I just simply will not stand for is this Premier League experience. It's absolute nonsense. And if you want to even go to the managers, Carlo Ancelotti and Antonio Conte, when they first came to the Premier League, how many games experience did they have? 0, and they still went on to win the Premier League title. So this absolute nonsensical idea that Harry Kane should be signed because of his Premier League experience, for me, is absolute garbage. And I think if that's the one reason and the only thing that you can have to sort of separate him and Osimhen, then realistically it's clutching at straws, if we're being perfectly honest. I know with Harry Kane, he wants the Premier League record. He wants this idea of winning the Premier League title at the biggest club in the country, as well as getting the all-time top goal scorer record. But this isn't a dream. This isn't a fantasy. We're Manchester United Football Club and we need to get back where we want to be. And 2-3 years down the line, we're going to be in the same predicament of signing another striker. Why miss out on someone like Victor Osimhen when he's got the world at his feet? And realistically, he could take Man United to the next level for the next 6-7 years. If Kane is playing at the top of his ability, can he do it for 6-7 years? I think we all know the answer to that one.
Yeah, big up, Anil. And I think it's also media driven by a certain sense that British press is kind of pushing the Harry Kane agenda to Manchester United. But I think if we signed Harry Kane 3 years ago, that would be a different prospect than today. He's pushing 30. For me, I'm looking more of the long-term sustainability. Jay, what's your thoughts and feelings regarding?
Okay, I love how Anil there brought the heat and called out the British media that have
Big
been
up Anil.
propagating this myth about Harry Kane for the last couple of years. He's won nothing as a pro. It's a case of Harry, show me medal, son. He won nothing. He has the England goal scoring record. Again, that's been stat padded by scoring goals against such luminaries as San Marino and Gibraltar. When did Harry Kane do it for England at a big tournament? And I think in the Euros against Italy in the final game, I thought Harry Kane was quite poor in that game for me. So the English media, obviously, with jingoism, they're always going to protect their own, and whatever it is, what it is. To throw 90 million at Harry Kane turning 30, you get 2 years from him, and it seems every second season Harry Kane does get an ankle injury. Next point I want to raise: looking at Harry Kane the last 2 seasons, he's dropped deeper and deeper between, to say, the 12-yard box and almost the halfway line. That seems to be his zone. So I think a Harry Kane in the United side would actually literally be tripping on Bruno's toes, because for me they operate very similar positions.
It's a great point.
Harry Kane, phenomenal striker. He is a phenomenal striker. He's an elite striker, but I don't class Harry Kane as a world class striker. Look back in the annals of strikers the last 5 years. Obviously, look, Ronaldo speaks for himself. Ibra, I'm a big fan of. You put maybe Harry Kane as a tier 2 striker, elite but not world class, and 90 million at turning 30. And Daniel Levy, we all know, a slippery eel when it comes to negotiation. Do you think for 1 second Richard Arnold has the negotiation now to sit down and trash out a deal with someone like Daniel Levy? Not a chance. I wouldn't touch Harry Kane personally. 3 years ago, yeah, Harry Kane, by all means, but not now.
That's exactly what I said 3 years ago, and you absolutely spot on. Daniel Levy, even if it's 1 year down the contract, he will squeeze out as much money as he can. Fine. Where do we put? Did you say you're safe, Phil? Or
no, mate, no. But to be honest, I had this big speech ready, and Anil took half of it, and Jake took the other half. So
sorry, man. Sorry,
sorry, mate.
I was like, well, yeah. I can just say, yeah, I agree with the guys. Well done, good preparation, Phil. But no, absolutely. I was going to say about the fact that Kane has been dropping a lot deeper. Whether that's because to suit the style of Spurs, because they've not had it in the midfield, they're not getting it. He's winning the ball. He's obviously the 1-2 that he was making with Son last season, which was absolutely phenomenal, being compared as two of the best in world football at the time because of the goal result between them, statistics between them, goals and assists. But what we cannot take away is the fact that Harry Kane is a phenomenal striker. He's a phenomenal finisher of the ball, or goal scorer, I should say. He's a phenomenal goal scorer. He's been consistent for many years. Even this season, when Spurs are having a really poor season, he's had 39 appearances, 23 goals, 4 assists. He's doing it season in, season out, always on the tip of the golden boot. He would be phenomenal at Man United for a season. He reminds me at this moment, this sort of signing is very much the Van Persie from Arsenal. Yep. He's not won it. He's going to make the move to the big club to take the trophy in the end, or take the chance of the trophy in the end. The difference being is Arsenal let Van Persie go for 25 million, 24.5 million. Daniel Levy has already been touched on, is no way going to let him go for anything less than 80, 90 million. And whether they're going to get that for a 30-year-old, someone who wants to get the goals, maybe if we do get Osimhen, maybe PSG will go for Kane or something like that. You don't know. someone who, because he'll have all the runners around him, and he's just going to be in there to finish it with a bit of height and can score all different types of goals. He is a fantastic striker. He would be amazing at United, but not for 90 million, not for me. 25 million, same like we got Robin Van Persie. Absolutely, you'd be stupid not to consider it for a season. But when we're talking a rebuilding for the future, it's got to not Harry Kane for me.
One swallow doesn't make a summer, is what we say. We are not looking for one season. Yeah, that's what I said. I think Harry Kane is a fantastic striker, but I don't see him as a game changer. Somebody can grab this ball by the scruff of the neck and just be a game changer. I've seen him drifting off in the beginning of the season. He went on a drought, didn't seem okay. But of course, in a Spurs side with Conte scoring like how many 21 goals in the season in all competitions, not too bad. But for me, it's nothing in terms of longevity. The way I see it is a longevity. If you want to have short-term gains, yeah, maybe 1, 2, 3 years, Harry Kane would be a striker. But what will happen with Kane after 33 years, we don't know in terms of his injury record and stuff like that. Hell, we even seen Zlatan Ibrahimovic playing to 41. So yeah, we see. Guys, in terms of your voting, where would you place him on the harder meter?
I think we're going to have to split the numbers a little bit. I'd probably put him at around 3.5. I think like we've all alluded to, he would be absolutely brilliant for a season, even 2 seasons. But realistically, long term, if you want to be hitting the 4 or 5 in terms of the ratings that we're going to give him, he's got to have more than just a couple of seasons. So I'm going to probably go about 3.5 for him.
3.5, yeah. I agree, 3.5.
I think that's the first statement. We've put Osimhen as a 5 as certainly as our hot favourites. We've said that Kane could do it, but in terms of whether we want him here for the money at his age, I know people say, "Oh, age doesn't come into it," but actually it does, because this money, when we're trying to rebuild, it's so important. And something that Scott Mandison's pointed out on one of his comments. I personally take Kane, but it seems like a nightmare deal to make, as we've already said. Levy would drag it out all summer. We can't afford another De Jong saga. Absolutely. It's not something that's going to be like, beginning of transfer window, okay, we agreed 90 million for Kane, job done. Not at all. If we offered 90 million up front, he wouldn't take it. He'd push for 120. That's the way Levy plays, and we'd lose. We actually saw Bellingham leave to Dortmund while we were fighting for Sancho, and we never got Sancho that window, and Bellingham went for 25 million to Dortmund from Birmingham. So we've been in this situation too many times before. Even going back to Moisey, when we ended up with flipping Fellaini. See, I remembered him. When we ended up with Fellaini, we even overpaid for him. His release clause had run out 2 days before, and we still paid over for it because we were dragged out with all these. You might be able to get him. You might be able to get him. There was rumours of Bale and Fabregas and all that, and his head was turned, and he was too excited by the potential of it. And I just think we've got to get him. We've got to know exactly who our targets are, and not be messed around. Not have the Frankie De Jong situation again. Make it clear: we're in, we're out. This is our season. Get on with pre-season.
Right, we're going to see what the global fan base on the socials has been voted as well later on. But yeah, I agree with you. Is everyone agreeing on 3.5? Yep. Right. There's a lot of comments coming in. United shouldn't go in for the Kane road. Yeah, I totally agree. The Premier League proven. People are supporting your rant. I absolutely agree. There's a lot of people agreeing, basically. Jay, ha. Scott Mandison saying, cool. But guys, I just also want to do a short clip, because a few weeks ago, we had Niall James and Jody from Mufc Realist TV. They had a conversation with 90 Minutes. We had a conversation with Graham Bailey. No other than that. So I'm just going to play this clip what Graham Bailey's reckon, because he's obviously speaking to the club regarding the striker target and stuff like that. So let me just play this clip.
I think for right now till the end of the season he does, but I think you've got to look in the summer where we're at. I mean, there's so many variables right now with Manchester United. Do we have new owners? Are the Glazers still going to be there? There's so many variables on that it basically changes everything come end of March, when the sale, according to the Rain Group, finally does happen. It changes everything to what number 9 could come in, which is where I think would love to get Graham's thoughts on who he thinks will come in.
I mean, we've been linked to Kane many times, as you know, Graham. And is it still a possibility? Are we still interested in Kane, or is he looking like he will stay at Tottenham?
I'm just going to pause here right now because today most of the media outlets and fan channels were reporting that Kane is the number one target from Eric Ten Hag. But listen to what Graham has to say.
He's obviously a player that does interest United. It's obviously the chances of Daniel Levy selling to Manchester United are very, very low. He doesn't want to sell Harry Kane to a rival, particularly Manchester United. There's been a lot of to and fro between those two clubs over the years. So, and obviously these big deals will be under a new stewardship at United. We expect new owners to be in before July 1st, even June when they start the planning. So we're expecting that, but and money will be available to Eric Ten Hag. But is Harry Kane the one? I'm not 100% convinced. I do know obviously there's a lot of players that like. They've looked at Osimhen. I think Dusan Vlahovic is one to watch. I think he'll be available for a lot less than what Harry Kane would be. I think he's younger. He's obviously without Juventus being Champions League. I think he's open to a move to England, so he's one to keep an eye on. Same with Benjamin Sesko. We know he's due to arrive at Leipzig, but United scouts love this guy. They like him a lot. Leipzig could double their money without him coming in, and then does that open up the avenue to other parts of the squad? I still think if I had the money there, I still think Frankie De Jong will be Ten Hag's main number one target if he's available. I think he probably will be. So if they're going to spend that, and it's not that they couldn't spend 100 million in every area, but obviously financial fair play does prevent you from doing that. So I would think maybe De Jong and another might be the case. Kane, yeah, he ticks our boxes, but he's 29, turns 30 this summer, doesn't he?
Yeah, in June or July.
Long term, I'm not convinced. I think Harry Kane might move, but Bayern Munich like him a lot. Does he go there for 2 or 3 years, guaranteed silverware, and then come back? A move to United for Kane, does that guarantee silverware? It looks like it might get him silverware, but I don't think it guarantees it. And so I think you just have to consider that option as well. So no, but I do think a new number 9 is vital for the way they play. I'm not sure. One in Weghorst mold is the way to go, but I don't think someone like a Kane or Vlahovic, even Sesko, is like that really. Or Weghorst, he's good at what he does, but he's very limited. And unless you're firing crossing the box, as we saw when you played inverted wingers, that isn't always the case. But he distracted the defenders yesterday at Ellen Road. He did what he had to do. But no, I don't think a carbon copy of that will be what we see in the summer. But I do expect a new number 9 to be through the door for Eric Ten Hag.
There we have it. So that's pretty much echoing what we are all saying, and we spoke to him, it was about 2 weeks ago, to be honest. And this is kind of fresh. And it's a valid point what he's saying, that Harry Kane, if he wants to win silverware, which probably wants, that's Harry Kane's dream. We know that the Bayern Munich is interested in a new striker. He would be a perfect. And Daniel Levy don't want to sell to a rival club. So that makes sense, guys.
Yeah, completely agree. Absolutely. I think we were all on mute. We're all nodding and saying, yeah, we agree.
Exactly.
Yeah,
I think you can tell by my facial expressions, we're all in agreement there. And I think it does actually remind me a little bit of moments ago where Jay referred to Daniel Levy as a slippery eel. When he was starting that sentence, I was a little bit worried about what he was going to say, but I think slippery eel is quite acceptable in terms of what you could potentially describe Daniel Levy as when it comes to these transfers.
Trust me,
that's always
Anil, I've said 10 times worse on Irish radio. Got away with it. 10 times worse.
Which I was half expected, to be honest. But yeah, jokes aside, I think there's so many stumbling blocks and so many questions where I almost feel if you put the money down for Osimhen, realistically, there's not going to be anything about the age or any potential parties on Napoli's side preventing if obviously you put the money down. And I hate to keep comparing it back to Osimhen, but realistically, this is the target that Man United fans want. So why shouldn't we use this as a yardstick, if you like? So yeah, I think it's certainly a situation, and the Bayern Munich stuff is quite interesting as well. It is actually something that I've heard over the last week or so. And one thing to remember is Thomas Tuchel is now at Bayern Munich, and he's obviously got the Premier League experience. He knows firsthand how good Harry Kane is. So if that situation does come about, don't be surprised if that Premier League link comes about and Harry Kane does move to Germany. Yeah,
Victor Osimhen. Price tag evaluation set according to the latest Transfermarkt website, 100 million euros, right? He's right-footed, age 24, fits the mold. He's still young. His contract expiring in June 2025, right?
Yeah, that's right.
If you've seen the goals tally, that he's quite consistent in his goal scoring.
Yeah.
He scored 29 goals in all competition, 22-23 this season alone, and that is, for me, what I've seen about Victor Osimhen is he is a very strong striker. The way he drives with the ball, the way he heads the ball. I mean, he's just a fox in a box. He's a one perfect striker, like, a perfect number 9, versatile, just not a fox in a box, right? So, but it is kind of the price tag that comes with it. But in terms of longevity, what we're looking at is, are we investing for the future? Are we investing just for the short-term gains to win something? Or are we looking at somebody that can grow in for the next 4 or 5 years if you give him a 4 or 5 years contract, guys? Who wants to go? Where did Anil
I'll go first on Victor, if you don't mind.
Yep.
He reminds me of a young Zlatan Ibrahimovic. He's very good. Taking the ball with his back to goal, holding off 2 defenders, bringing other players into the game. He's excellent in the air. He's the last player that a centre back would want jumping with him for a ball because he's so physical. At 24 years of age, his potential, I think, is astonishing. If we were to buy just one striker this season and not buy a backup, for me, it's him. I would go all in on Victor Osimhen personally.
Yeah. Phil?
I completely agree with Jay, 100%. He is my preferred choice out of all the strikers out there. And I'm not saying he's even available, because, as you say, he's got 2 years left on his contract at the moment, which makes it a harder bargain, and especially when other people, other teams will certainly be after him. It's obviously known that we lack a striker seriously since letting Ronaldo go, and with the injury record to Martial, I just think he would be the perfect striker for us. I think you think of the chances we've missed this season. I think he'd have put many of those away, and I think we would certainly be fighting for the league right now. Obviously, with that's taking into account the fact that we've made changes, we've made purchases, and certainly going into next season, I think we'd have a great chance. I just think he's, as Jay's already said, alluded to, his height, the way he takes the ball, his finishing, his different style of finishing. He's got 29 goals this season, 25 goals, 5 assists. And he's just, and that's starting to increase. He's started to be recognised. He's doing absolutely fantastic at the moment. Obviously, for Napoli, they're actually being reported as one of the favourites for the Champions League, partly because of his form and what he brings to the game, and the fact that he can do it in at any moment. He can just turn it on. He doesn't give in. I've not seen him. I've not watched every single game of this season, don't get me wrong, but I've not seen him kind of slacking off. When I have seen him, he's giving his all running, and when he is running, he's making good runs, and he's doing good things with it. He's not just kind of running about aimlessly as some other players perhaps have maybe been doing a little bit more of. So yeah, for him, he is my preferred choice at the age of 24. Even though he's got a high price tag, it is for the future. We're not just investing 100 million in someone who's going to get us goals for a year. It's got to be someone who we're investing in for the future, because we're rebuilding this squad, we're rebuilding Man United, and to me, he's the perfect signing at the perfect time.
Okay, thank you, Phil. Anil, I see you've been scribbling some notes.
Yeah. So I am guilty. I mean, it's always a little bit disappointing when the whole panel agree with each other, because we want to argue, we want to disagree and tell each other's wrong, and my decision's better than yours. But unfortunately, this time round, it's a clean sweep. I think Victor Osimhen is the standout candidate, and I think, look, at the end of the day, all of them are brilliant players. The ones in discussion at the moment, and for all of us anyway, Osimhen's at the top of that list, especially with given his age and the potential and already the ability that he's showing. And let's be realistic. A striker on average, really, I know it's a bit of a stereotype, but around 27, 28 is where they really hit the pomp of their career, which is quite frightening to think that Osimhen's 3-4 years off that, which is absolutely brilliant. And I think one of the many things anyway that really separates Osimhen to all the other potential targets for a striker for Manchester United is there's this, I think Phil was alluding to it a little bit then, there's almost like this never say die attitude, this dog in him, as many youngsters say these days, this grit and determination really that he has in his game, which I think if we look at Man United now, we've got the likes of Casemiro in midfield, behind him Martinez and Varane, and then if you have a striker like Osimhen who's bringing that never say die attitude, will just never know when they're beaten and just constantly go for it. You can almost tell every time they step onto a pitch, it's more than just a game of football, it's more than just a job. This is their dream and they're living it out every day. So I think this is certainly a situation. And look, as someone who is a massive advocate for Osimhen, I've been trying to do as much research as I can and speak to the contacts that I do have in the industry in terms of where we're at with Osimhen. And from what I've been told, realistically, the two standout candidates at this moment in time for Osimhen's signature are PSG and Manchester United, and both teams are willing to put down big price tags, and they both see him as a star and right up there with the top strikers in world football. So I do think this will ultimately come down to realistically what Osimhen wants in terms of a project. And I think if Man United can get into the Champions League, can show already in Eric Ten Hag's season they can secure trophies and really fight on all fronts, how attractive is that for an up-and-coming striker in Europe? And let's not forget that. I mean, Osimhen's a brilliant player, but he is nowhere near the potential that he could potentially get to. And that is the scariest thing of all. 3-4 years under the management of Eric Ten Hag and a team that are building with players around him, it's quite phenomenal, really. So I do certainly think that Osimhen, as all the other gentlemen on this podcast have said, he's the standout candidate. And if Man United can get that over the line, it's almost a case of, do we even need another striker? I know it would be unbelievable, but his injury record is fairly decent, especially compared to Harry Kane. And this is certainly a player that I think he will relish putting that Manchester United jersey on. So yeah, as I said, unfortunately, I do have to agree with everyone on the panel, but Victor Osimhen is the one that I'd pick, and I'd pick in a heartbeat.
Yeah,
I think the only thing to add to the only weakness that I see, or not weakness, concern, is that, and it's only for a short period of time, but it does matter, is he's Nigerian, so the AFCON. It does have that little bit of an impact. So we're saying that we might not need somebody else. I know we've got Rashford and we've got other players who potentially can perform and perhaps step up under somebody else taking the limelight for a little bit. I just think that
I've got an idea for that.
Yes, mate.
My personal ideal scenario is we get Victor Osimhen and we get Ferguson.
I knew you'd say that, and I agree completely.
But it's boring if we agree. It's boring if we agree. But obviously, we're all keen watchers of the game, and Ferguson again, up and coming. We haven't had an Irish player at the club, I think, since John O'Shea left. I think it was John O'Shea possibly the last Irish player we had. And also, we've had like a long history of Irish players, but unfortunately, the last 10 years, there's been no Irish player worth their salt to come and play for the club, apart from Jack Grealish, but he obviously decided to play for England. I don't rate Declan Rice. I think he's overrated. I don't rate him at all. But for me, it would have to be Ferguson and Osimhen. For me, that's the dream ticket. Probably if I get Ferguson for 30-35 mil, not going to play every game, but you play your Carabao Cup, play your Epic Cup, and play some midweek fixtures. And again, you still said there, Phil, with the AFCON, you lose Osimhen for a month, and then you were a great point there. You said ourselves and PSG are in the running. Well, PSG, it's a topsy-turvy club. Change your manager every 18 years, 2 years. There's no real stability. I think Ligue 1 in France, nothing more than the pub league. Messi went there to retire. Zlatan said himself, He scored 50 goals one season in all competitions for PSG. Nobody cared. Messi got 20 and gets nominated for Ballon d'Or. So I think if you're an up-and-coming player, that you're not playing for money. You're playing to win things. You come to a club like United with Eric Ten Hag with a 4 to 5 year project. Surely logic would dictate, if money is similar, you choose a sporting project that's going to bring you on as a player and develop as a player. I think PSG, for someone like Osimhen, I think he wastes his talent there.
Yeah, I agree, Jay. But also, if we're looking at the takeover, like, you know, if Qatar might buy us as well, it's going to be interesting. I don't know. I think personally, if I was Osimhen, I would go where I can be successful and where I would be loved, to be honest. PSG hasn't been successful. They haven't won anything. I mean, of course, they've been successful in the local competition, the local league, which some people call Farmers League. I'm not going to go there. But they haven't been successful in winning the Champions League. So welcome to Manchester United, according to everyone else. So on a hot meter, 1 to 5, I guess we all score number 5 here, right?
Absolutely.
Okay, can you note it down? 5 for Osimhen. Let me see what the poll is saying. Like, let me share, because earlier today I posted a poll on Twitter. And let me see what the fan base are saying. I mean, if they all agree what we are saying, then we are on par. So let me bring into the stream. Yay! If we look at the overall 185 votes, and there's still 22 hours to go. But it's been 2,000 views, and many people have voted in a certain sense. They all agree that 62.2% so far says Osimhen is the perfect striker that fits Ten Hag's system. As what we said, Vlahovic came only on 4.3, and Harry Kane second on 23.2, and Benjamin Sesko on 10.3. Of course, we have a lot of split opinions, what people are saying. Like, there's always comments to say, I personally go for Benjamin Sesko with Osimhen. There's a mixed bag, but at the end of the day, they all agree with Osimhen. And I think that's remarkable. That means that, you know, this doesn't really speak, the poll doesn't speak for the entire fan base, but, you know, at least it shows some consensus of what is the perfect striker for Eric Ten Hag's mold. You know, we only need one perfect combined striker, you know, competitive striker, because that's what we're missing. We've been crying out, we've been missing a perfect good striker ever since Ibrahimovic left. He was according to my opinion, correct me if I'm wrong, he was a fantastic striker until he injured his knees. But I want to
throw
play
this in very quickly.
Yeah,
I think if we'd have had Cavani this season, if he'd have just waited, I think would have been all right. Moving on.
But Cavani was injury prone.
I don't think I could take a season of relying on Cavani or Martial to lead the line for Man United. I think that would probably be the final nail in the coffin for me.
No, but I mean, this season we're in that right now, if we'd have had him as an option.
Yeah, certainly.
That's what I'm saying. Yeah.
Okay, guys, I'm going to move on.
Cavani over a Weghorst is a no-brainer. Even if he's
yeah. Or any of those strikers mentioned here in the poll over Weghorst. I think Weghorst, I don't know. Ten Hag has been stubborn with him, but I haven't seen any return on investment. If you're a striker, you should finish your dinner. You got to be calling a spade a spade. It's been good for Loiney. Ramos been banging this season, yeah. Not sure how much he'd cost. How much is Ramos costing? I don't know.
I think it's going to be a situation certainly where it's going to be in the high price tag. So I do certainly think he's not going to be on the side of caution in terms of price. He's going to be someone who everyone sees, especially after the World Cup and everything like that. You know, he certainly put his name amongst the cat amongst the pigeons, shall we say? So he's going to be a striker that's more so in terms of the category of Kane and Osimhen in terms of the price. He's got massive potential, but I think it is a little bit unfair when we're talking about him because it's almost that air of uncertainty, isn't it? I do feel like as football fans, we just genuinely know more about all the other potential targets. So it's certainly a situation where I think he's going to be a player that's going to be linked. He's certainly an option from what I've heard that is an admirer from Ten Hag's camp. So yeah, we'll have to wait and see on that one. But I think it all just leads back again to if we get Victor Osimhen, I think we'll be a very, very happy fan base.
There's a lot of comments coming in. United shouldn't go in for the Kane road. Yeah, I totally agree. The Premier League proven. People are supporting your rant. I absolutely agree. There are a lot of people agreeing, basically. Jay, ha ha ha. Scott Manderson saying, cool, cool, cool. So that's pretty much echoing what we are all saying, you know. And it's a valid point what he's saying, that Harry Kane, if he wants to win silverware, which probably wants, that's Harry Kane's dream. We know that the Bayern Munich is interested in a new striker. He would be a perfect. And Daniel Levy don't want to sell to a rival club. So that makes sense, guys. Yeah, is everyone on mute?
Yeah, completely agree. Absolutely. I think we were all on mute. We're all nodding and saying, yeah, we agree.
Exactly.
Yeah, we
I think you can
it.
tell by my facial expressions, we're all in agreement there. And I think it does actually remind me a little bit of moments ago where Jay referred to Daniel Levy as a slippery eel. When he was starting that sentence, I was a little bit worried about what he was going to say, but I think slippery eel is quite acceptable in terms of what you could potentially describe Daniel Levy as when it comes to these transfers.
Trust me,
that's always
Anil, I've said 10 times worse on Irish radio. Got away with it. 10 times worse.
Which I wasn't half expected, to be honest. But yeah, you know, jokes aside, I think there's so many stumbling blocks and so many questions where I almost feel if you put the money down for Osimhen, realistically, there's not going to be anything about the age or any potential parties on Napoli's side preventing if obviously you put the money down. And I hate to keep comparing it back to Osimhen, but realistically, this is the target that Man United fans want. So why shouldn't we use this as a yardstick, if you like? So, yeah, I think it's certainly a situation. And the Bayern Munich stuff is quite interesting as well. It is actually something that I've heard over the last week or so. And one thing to remember is Thomas Tuchel is now at Bayern Munich. And he's obviously got the Premier League experience. He knows firsthand how good Harry Kane is. So if that situation does come about, don't be surprised if that Premier League link comes about and Harry Kane does move to Germany. Yeah.
Okay, brilliant. Let's close this striker position. Everyone agrees, including the fan base, including yourself, Jay, Phil, me, and including Graham Bailey as well, which everyone knows is a well-known transfer journalist as well. Guys, if you want to support the channel, please like and subscribe. You know, you have a lot of buttons there. Tell your friends about the channel. We are here as a global fan community. We're going places. We are going with the winds of change with Eric Ten Hag and the club. And we like to keep it real. You know, everyone can come on, have a say. But for now, I give you back the day. That was a rhyme. Everyone can have a say, go back and have it a day. But please, thank you for all your support, gentlemen. This is Mick Ruby. You can find me there. This is Phil, Anil, Jay. Have a lovely evening, guys. Like and subscribe. Bye for now. Thank you so much for stopping by and watching Mufc Realist TV. Don't forget to like and subscribe and follow us on the socials.